Heavenly Father, we thank you for everybody coming today to memorialize John Allan Kemp and to celebrate his birthday, which will be tomorrow. And we thank everybody for coming and sharing their life with us that they had with John. We also want to thank you for allowing everybody that came here traveling that they arrived safely, and that you will watch over them and guide them home safely. We thank you for all the blessings that you've given us as a family and as his friends. And we ask these things in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, on behalf of John's family, his mother, Diane, his son, Chance, my wife, Joy, and I, we would like to thank you for joining us in celebrating John Kemp's life today. This is not only a celebration of life of John, but also his 49 years that he had on this earth, as tomorrow will be his birthday. We especially want to thank and give our gratitude to John's closest friends, whom he considered his brothers. And that is Curtis Devine, Chad Bennett, and Mitch Gleason. You guys were his brothers, and that's the way he always referred to you guys as to us. Without these young men, who we consider also family, the celebration of John's life would not be possible. So we would like to give them a big and heartfelt gratitude and thank you for everything that you guys have done. For those of you attending, I'm John's dad. I've been John's dad for 46 years. And my name is Bob, and I want to give you a brief synopsis of John's life. John Allan Kemp was born September 8, 1975 in Chino, California to Diane Dozier. John passed away July 23, 2024 at Honor Health Shea Hospital Medical Center in Scottsdale, Arizona, after suffering a massive heart attack. He is survived by his mother, Diane, his son, Chance, by me, Bob, of course, many aunts and uncles who are so numerous it's going to be very hard to name them all, cousins, and other family members who are in attendance with us today. So please say hi to them if you get a chance to. John was preceded in death by his grandparents on both sides of the family, several aunts and uncles, and other family members. For his first 3 years of life, Diane and John kind of moved about the country as part of a military family. In 1978, Diane and John left military life and moved to Needles to stay with her uncle temporarily and his family, which is where I met them and began dating Diane. John was only 3 years old at the time. Even before John knew my name, he'd call me Bob. One of the things I really remember about him being little. And was excited when I came to see them in the fire truck, because I was a firefighter and I had been for over 50 years. In 1979, Diane and I married and John became my son, and has been so ever since. Don initially attended grade school in Needles and then transferred to Mojave Valley Elementary School when he moved from Needles to Mojave Valley. During his elementary school year, John's attention span was kind of short. I'm sure a lot of you guys would remember that. as John had the ability to hear things several classrooms down the line, word for word, what the teacher and other people were saying. John made friends quickly and remained friends with them to this day. John attended Mojave Valley Junior High and then River Valley High School, and then with his attention span issues, he decided to get his GED and regretted not graduating with his friends in school. John grew up like a normal child most of the time. He loved hanging out with his cousins and his friends. John was a joker. He loved to tease. He teased everybody. John loved going out to the desert, shooting and trinket hunting. That's what I called it. Actually, I called it junk hunting. But he actually came by that naturally with his grandfather. John got into car sales, working for different car companies and car lots. John was a good salesman. John could sell you almost anything. One of John's cousins told us one time that John was such a good salesman that he could have sold a tank to General Patton. But John didn't like working 6 days a week and wanted to hang out with his friends more than 1 day a week. And I will let John's friends tell their stories about John. So I won't go into that because I want to keep this relatively short. John grew up around the fire station where I worked at and getting involved with the firefighters. Probably wasn't the best idea because of the environment involved around the fire service. That John kind of picked up some bad habits there, I'm sure. John even responded to calls with me when I was responding in my staff vehicle or my private vehicle. John would get to see firsthand what I did. In a way, I believe John would have become a firefighter if it wasn't that John couldn't handle the sight of blood, like one of his aunts. John would help on the scenes and at the fire stations. John loved helping others. That's where he got his deal about helping anybody that asked him. He especially loved helping his family and friends and would almost do anything to help them out, and sometimes detrimental to John's situation, which is why I believe he wanted to do a tow truck service. I wondered why, since there may be times he would have to encounter blood, why he would want to be in tow truck service. But he still wanted to do that. He said, "I'll get through it, Dad." John started a tow truck service recently and had worked on getting it established for him and his son. But John's health prevented him from obtaining the necessary licenses, which is why he wasn't able to actually do the service. So he had to abandon that goal. He was extremely heartbroken about losing that goal. His heart was set on having that tow business. In reference to John with blood, it reminds me of a time when John was younger and he and one of his friends was out riding their bicycles, and down the street from the house, his friend wrecked and injured himself real bad. John come running up to the house, "Dad, Dad, Dad, my friend wrecked his bike and he's bleeding real bad." I said, "Okay, Tom, let's go down and take a look and see what's going on." "No way, Dad, I ain't going down there, there's blood." No way would he even go down there. So I ended up taking care of the child myself, which is what I did. Sure do. One thing I didn't know, he really loved his son, Chance. He wanted the best for Chance, but he didn't always know how to accomplish that. Sometimes he didn't know how to tell Chance either. When John and Chance didn't see eye to eye and wouldn't talk for a while, it would hurt John immensely. Chance meant the world to John, and when John had trouble providing for Chance, this caused depression in John. There would be times John and I didn't see eye to eye either, and there would be times I had to be a dad. And John didn't always like that. And I'm sure that's the same with a lot of dads out there. but I never stopped loving my son. Even when there were times when John was mad at me, he would tell me he wasn't my son, and I knew that really wasn't in his heart. And John accepted my wife, Joy, after his mom and I divorced, and John would make sure that I was taking care of her before taking care of anyone else, including himself. During the latter part of John's life, he and Joy began to have a relationship, and while he was in the hospital, he told us that he loved us both very much. We're going to miss him, but glad John's no longer suffering and in pain. Take care, John, and we'll be together again soon. I know John used to celebrate his birthday with another young lady here, that's here today, with one of his friends who shares the same birthday together. If his friend, she is here today, you were, sorry, I wasn't sure. Say y'all. You are now and will continue to celebrate your birthday together. Just remember that John's there with you. So today is not only a celebration of John's life, but it's also a celebration of John's 49th birthday. Now I'm going to turn the mic over to anyone else who may want to say something and share your stories or memories with John. Thank you all for coming. We really appreciate his mom and I, Joy and I, that's our chance. Really appreciate it.
It's good to see a lot of familiar faces here today. Some people, a lot of John's family that I haven't seen in a long time, but a lot of our friends here. A lot of people that I met through John. A lot of people that I created really deep friendships alongside of John. So I'm going to say a couple of words for John's mom, some information that she gave me, and then I'll give you a little bit of a little story, a lot of stories maybe about John and my 30-year friendship. So, as Bob said, John Allan Kemp was born September 8, 1975 in Chino, California. He was a blue-eyed, blonde-haired baby boy. As you could imagine, his mother, Diane, was thrilled with the birth of her first and only child. Diane moved to Needles, California in 1978 when John was 3 years old. Diane met Bob, and they got married in 1979. Bob became a big part of John's life, and John was always proud of his dad's career as a firefighter, and he spent a lot of time at the fire station with him. John attended school in Needles, California from preschool to 4th grade. His mom said John had a love for animals. They would gravitate to him like he was the animal whisperer. John played soccer and baseball in his youth until one day he got hit in the eye with a baseball and decided he would just stick with soccer. From 5th grade to 8th grade, John attended Mojave Valley Elementary and junior high, then went on to attend high school at River Valley High. His mom just told me last night that John was the photographer for the high school yearbook and the only guy in the choir class. I almost fucking died. A lot of you went to high school with John, but I only spent part of 1 year, maybe a year and a half in high school with John. So this was news to me. I could only imagine Kemp running around the high school, taking pictures and flirting with every girl that walked by and being the only guy in choir class. It was always a numbers game with John and the ladies, and let me tell you, he knew how to play the odds. As far as my relationship with John, I could stand here for hours and tell you, stories about my 30-year friendship with Kemp. But most of it would be inappropriate to say in front of his mother, so I'll keep it PG and you can use your imagination. There's no need to mention the amount of laughter Kemp brought to us all. He never took anything serious and always kept us laughing. John had quite a few nicknames. Kemp Dog. That was who he was when I first met him. The mayor of River Valley. My favorite high school teacher, Doug Nicolai, gave him that name. The conductor. If you don't know why, I'm married now, and I can no longer discuss it. The Godfather, the Kemp, as he would oftentimes refer to himself as, Kempy Woods. I think you're gonna have to talk to Bennett to see where that name came from. I'll let him tell you that fucking story. His mom, Diane, called him John Allen. My mom called him John Kemp. Never John, never Kemp, always John Kemp. And she said the name with a tone like she was his mother, and she was watching him, and he better not be getting into any fucking trouble. My mom knew I looked up to John like a big brother. She also knew if he was up to no good, I was up to no good. When I first met Kemp, I was 15 years old. And he was 18 or 19 years old. And he was smooth. He was confident. He was witty. He was funny. And most importantly to me at the time, he was great with the girls. That first summer I spent hanging out with Kemp at Jason Howard's house in Willow Valley was wild. So many parties, so many trips to Laughlin, so many girls. John showed me the ropes that summer, to say the least. He brought me out of my shell, and he showed me how to strike up a conversation with complete strangers, mostly girls. Most importantly, he taught me how to be confident. He also taught me a lot of other shit too that I could be in jail for, but we'll save that conversation for another time. During high school, and for a while after high school, Kemp worked at Mud Shark's Pizza. He got me my first real job there. And I got to work alongside Kemp, Kenny Crumride, Jimmy Hibbler, Joe Perkins, you name it. Everybody that worked at that place had a great time together. The stories we could tell you about Mud Sharks you wouldn't believe. I don't know how that place made any money. It was literally a job where you got to hang out with your boys, shoot the shit, eat pizza, make pizza, and deliver pizza. Best fucking job I've ever had. Guaranteed. Those high school years were definitely some of the best memories I have with Kemp. After high school, Kemp became a car salesman here in Boyd City, which I thought was a perfect job for him. He could shoot the shit with anybody. He loved cars, and he was a great salesman. Kemp and I lived together as roommates for 3 to 4 years. We lived in a couple small trailers down in Willow Valley. We played in a softball league together, and we partied hard, chasing girls with these guys right here. Some of you other guys too, but I'm not going to say who you were. We also lived in a small house down in Quail Run with Josh Price and Ty Christensen, where we made some great memories. I worked construction, so my day would start about 4 a.m. Kemp was still selling cars, so his day didn't start until like 10. I remember leaving the house about 4 a.m. every morning. I'd go to the radio, crank it all the way fucking up, and I'd play Dukes of Hazzard theme song at 4 a.m. in the morning, every fucking morning. It was fucking, he loved that song, so it was cool for about 3 days, but then he got over it real quick. He was tired of me waking up so early. I'll never forget John's birthday, 9/8/75, which is tomorrow, so happy birthday, Kemp. Or his home address, 2488 Cabot Drive, Mojave Valley, Arizona. I was John Kemp for 4 years. I used his ID to tear up every bar and casino along this river. He would walk in 2 minutes ahead of me, and we never got caught. It fucking blew my mind. We didn't look that much alike. Blue eyes, blonde hair, that was about it. If you knew Kemp during those years, you knew he was all about the ladies. He never left the house without a ridiculous 2-hour shower, a clean shave, a freshly ironed polo shirt, iron jeans, and black Vans. Not to mention way too much cologne. 2.5 equal to 10 to Kemp, and if you asked 10, you were going to get at least 1. Those were his rules, if you know what I mean. Those first 10 years of our relationship were the most impactful for me. And we really lived life to the fullest and created a lot of great laughs and memories. The next 10 years we spent making a lot of bad decisions. We made a lot of great memories, and he never stopped making everyone laugh, but we made a lot of bad decisions. I'll give you one story I think I can tell in front of his mom. During this time period of our lives, it was not very good. Is that even though we weren't officially roommates after we lived in Colorado, Kemp would stay for a night or a week or a month or however long he needed at every damn house I lived at, which was perfectly fine with me because I always enjoyed having him around. One evening after a long day of work, this was when my construction business was falling apart. I was heading towards bankruptcy. Life was tough. I get home and walk upstairs to my bedroom where Courtney, my girlfriend at the time and my wife now, was waiting for me. I said to Courtney, "Hold me. I just want to cry." Out of the blue, from the bedroom next door, I hear, "Come over here, you little bitch, I'll hold you." It was fucking Kemp. I forgot. He was living with me again in his other fucking room. Man. He could make you laugh at the toughest times, right? That's what we all appreciate about John. It was always about a laugh. We all had good laughs with him. We all loved the time we spent with him. I'm going to leave the rest of the stories during this time period to anybody else who has the balls to tell the stories of that time. The last 10 years of our third-year relationship seemed a little bit like a blur. We made some great memories during that time, for sure, but I'd spent a lot of that time working and taking care of my own family. We never lost touch. We always picked up right where we left off, like best friends do. We were always there for each other. He always showed up when I needed something, and I always showed up or sent him a check when he needed something. I can honestly say, at this point in my life, losing Kemp's probably the second biggest loss for me. Next to the loss of my mom. My mom always told me I could do or be anything I wanted to be in life. She told me to be confident. But John showed me how to be confident. I learned from him. He demonstrated it. That confidence that he built in me, along with discipline that I learned somewhere along the way, have allowed me to become the person I am today. There were some things about my best friend, my brother, I didn't like, and I could never seem to change. For 20 years, I'd be on his ass about his lifestyle, even though half the time I was making the same mistakes. I wanted him to be there for his kids. I wanted him to take care of his health. I wanted him to be the person I knew he could be. As funny as John was, and for all his great laughs he had. As funny as John was, and for all of those great laughs we had, there were some times I wished I wouldn't have laughed. When I tried to be serious with him to make changes in his life, he cracked a joke. I wish I wouldn't have laughed. I wish I'd been serious and gotten through to him. And I wish he was still here with us today. He was a great friend. He gave us all so many great memories and so many great laughs. Till we meet again, Kemp. I'll catch you on the flip side.
stand up here all day and tell funny stories about John. John literally loved a lot of things, and mostly his friends, but most of all, he loved his son. And while he may not have been the best father, he was always proud of his son. He may not have always shown up for him, but he always talked about his son. His dad, he loved to brag about his dad, being the fire chief. He knew everything about fire. John may not have been book smart, but was probably one of the most intelligent people I know. This guy knew everything about everything. For matter of fact, yesterday I went to my work truck and I was thinking, gosh damn, I need Kemp to come look at this thing with me, because he knew everything. He loved the war. He loved everything about the war. He loved everything about planes. He loved everything about battleships. He could tell you every plane, every battleship, every war story. But he spent most of his life making us all laugh. He got a joy out of making other people happy. I'm going to read something right now that is from the book of John Henry Justice back there. He made a post after this happened, and it said, "As I and so many sit here thinking about all the great things and bullshit that came along with being John Kemp's friend, I feel as though the valley just got a little bit smaller. That one of the things that made it like no other place I will ever go or I've ever gone. When I lost my dad, Kemp was there within hours. The guy gave me his lunch and phone charger. This guy would have given me the shirt off his back if I had not seen him in 10 years. By the world's standards, the Kemp may not have lived a perfect life, but I will tell you, he lived one heck of one. I pray for his family and his children and my hometown and so many of friends. As the sun sets on this one, let's remember how precious our time and health is." So I think Curtis pretty much hit everything on the head, and we all know how John was. I spent a lot of time with him in Phoenix, one while we were working for Curtis, and let me tell you, we would get on each other's fucking nerves. So, I'm going to share a couple funny stories. One was when Meadow was little, he would always be around, and he'd always pull out $1 or $2, whatever he had. And you go, "Here, Meadow, here's a couple dollars walking around cash because your dad's a cheap ass." And she would always say, "Dad, that guy, John, is always so happy." And I would think about it, and I'm like, man, he was always happy. And he cracked jokes all the way down to his final hours. And I'll share that here in a minute. But one of the funny stories was, like I said, John knew everything. And with me having a landscape construction business, it's a lot different than Mojave Valley. You're not just on a one-way road, right? I've got guys driving down freeways with tractors, and it's dangerous. So I know I could always call Kemp when I needed equipment moved, and if he wasn't doing nothing, he would do it. So one day I called Kemp, this is about 2 o'clock, and he had ran the Bobcat at this job, so he knew where it was. And the job was done. Everything was ready to go. I had to take Meadow somewhere, so I'm like, "Hey, John, can you come over and grab a truck and trailer and go pick it up?" And he goes, "Yeah." Now, a lot of us in here know what Kemp time was, right? He was like on Hawaii time. He was about 3 hours behind. So before he came, I said, "John, I want to make this very clear so there's no confusion about this, and I don't want to kick your ass when it's done." And I said, "You're going to leave here, you're going to go to Roy's house, right? How long is that going to take? 20 minutes? Let's just say 30. Okay, 30. Then you got to load up the equipment. How long is that going to take? Tie it down, you got to put the extra, a half hour. Let's say an hour, so we're an hour and a half. How long to get back? Well, 30 minutes. All right, so 2.5 hours. I mean, this place is 20 minutes away, but 2.5 hours just to be safe. So I'm waiting, 3.5 hours, 4.5 hours, no tractor, no truck. The worst part is I'm calling him and he's fucking ignoring my calls. So now I'm fucking fuming. And about 6 hours later, he decides to answer. He's all, what? And I said, where the fuck are you? And he goes, I'm doing my taxes. What the fuck? What? It's like, I'm doing my taxes on my phone. I said, bring that fucking truck back now. So he brings the truck back. Well, of course, I'm out there fucking waiting for him. And I go to rip him out of the truck because he won't get out. He ended up tearing shit off. By the way, my neighbor is standing outside and she hears all videotaping. And I swear, I want to go back to that house and ask that neighbor if she saw the tape. It's probably great. So we get done, we get out of the truck, I go grab Meadow, we get in the car, we go to leave. And as I drive by, he's like, you fucking punk! Jump out of the car, I go, So then he gets in his car and he pulls out this electric blower. And he's holding the blower up, and I kid you not, it looked like Tom and Jerry. I'm chasing around the car this way, he's going around the car this way. Meanwhile, the lady's still out there videotaping. We go, it happened for about 5 minutes, and then I'm like, oh, Meadow's in the car, I can't do this. I get back in the car and I go to leave, he goes, fucking bitch! I stopped the car again, same thing happened, I'm like, fuck. 2 days later, called like nothing happened. Another funny story is, John liked junk, like Bob said. But John also liked to dumpster dive, and he was not afraid to share it or tell it. He had a shirt that said dumpster with the little guy diving. And he wore that fucking thing proudly. So one day we're driving down Greenway, and it's nighttime, one night. And then he goes, Benny, turn around. I go, for what? Just turn around, trust me. I go, okay. So we turn around. And he goes, go back here. And there's these buildings, and he goes, go turn. I go, where the fuck are you taking me? He goes, so we turn, and here's this person, you can just see their legs dangling out of the dumpster, and he fucking lays on the horn, he goes, that's my honey hole. I go, oh my God, you gotta be kidding me. And he goes, this place always has good stuff, and when they don't sell it, they put it out here. So, that was another good one. Grab a drink here. The guy loved lights, right? He loved lights, especially red and blue ones, so he could fuck with you. And he would tell me, he would say, Ben and I'll go, somewhere he went where there was always good stuff. And he goes, it's funny, I'll go in the alley and I'll hit those red and blue lights, and he goes, you just see them fucking scattering like cockroaches. What else did I want to say about him? There was just so many funny things, and in his final days, I don't want to take up a lot of time because we could all sit here for days telling stories. In his final days, Meadow and I were able to go see him, and the nurse walks in, and he's a shorter guy, bleached blonde hair, bangs glued down to his forehead. 2 hoop earrings. John can barely talk at this point. And he looks over at me and he goes, I go, what? And he goes, I go, what? He goes, back streets back. Meadow and I are trying to hold it in, couldn't. And then the guy leaves, and the guy comes back in, and he goes, the name, the nurse's name was up on board. He goes, look, his name's even fucking Brian. So now it's a little awkward because the nurse feels a little awkward, right? And I'm like, oh, he's a jokester. He likes making pranks. And it was funny because a lot of the girl nurses, they were like, man, this guy, I go, you should see him when he's on point. I go, he's twice as funny. So, and then so I had to take Meadow back to school, drop her off, then I went back and sat with him for a while. And that poor kid, he probably doesn't want to be a nurse anymore. It was funny, John wanted a drink or something. He wanted something, and he asked the nurse if he could have it. And he goes, I'm doing my best, man. And he goes, "Fuck you are." And the guy goes, "Excuse me, sir, do you need something?" And he goes, "The fuck you are." But in closing, I think we could all just remember John. Like I said, he pissed a lot of us off. He didn't live a good worldly standards, and you know, I was just as much part of his problem as he was for a long time. I think a lot of us in this room were. Vinny. But another thing, Kurt was saying all his nicknames. But see, John was smart. He was never self-incriminating. He would talk in the third person point of view, and he would say, "Can a man stop by? Can a man borrow a truck? Can the Kippy do this? Can the Kippy do that?" And I'd say, "You are the Kippy." He goes, "No, I'm not. I'm talking in third person so I don't get myself in trouble." But I'll turn it over. Thanks for all you guys showing up. And
good job, man. We knew you'd have all the good stories. Be willing to tell a few. In 1994, I met a guy who was in his sixth year of high school, not really sure. He had a little belly, wasn't exactly known for his good looks, and definitely wasn't what you'd call an athlete. So I did see him hit a softball 250, 270 over Ellis Hitter's head to burn him one night. He could also ride the shit out of a jet ski. But what stood out the most was his confidence. Walking the halls of River Valley High School, he carried himself with the swagger of a 6'3" starting quarterback, chatting with people, hitting on girls, and planning parties with John Henry. Everyone loved him, and so did I. The first time I got drunk, it was at Kippy's house. Diane, Bob, sorry. He introduced me to Mamba Juice and had me drinking until I was puking my guts out. Kippy had a car, a job, money in his pocket. I remember on Slave Day when he spent a small fortune on the hottest freshman girls, dressed them in camo, and turned them into his soldiers. Watching Sergeant Kemp make his soldiers do obstacle courses throughout the day was hilarious and had the whole school in stitches. Everybody loved him, and I was no exception. As the year went on, Kippy showed up at school in a legit motocross box van. As a freshman, I thought this was the coolest thing ever. Him and Jason Howard would leave town every Friday to race with some of the big guys like Lytle, Deegan, guys like that. Kip would return, telling me and Kurt these epic stories that seemed too wild to be true. Before long, Kurt was out of town on Fridays too. Everybody loved him, and so did I. Even then, he was always incredibly happy. I remember thinking Kippy must have the best life, free from the troubles that plagued others. But life had its challenges. After some trouble and time upstate for allegedly stealing a jet ski, Kippy would pop in and out of our lives. You always knew he was back when you'd find all the outside light bulbs changed to purple, red, green, different colors. We knew Kippy was back. Regardless of his struggles, he remains as cheerful and funny as ever. I'll never forget all the laughs he shared over the years, which made it so easy to be there for him when he needed me. He was always there for me, whether I needed help at a job, fixing something, or just a fall guy, he was there for me. I never forgot his support and the times he showed up for me. Kippy had a unique way of speaking in the third person, often saying things like, "Mitch, a man found something you might like," or "The kid knows a spot where you blah, 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 blah." It was always something. Everything had a follow-up, one-liner that made you shake your head in disbelief. I remember telling him once that he was about 3 for 6 on his jokes for the day, and he said, "Mitch, well, I should be in the Hall of Fame, man." Yeah, he couldn't help but laugh. If he was a good cook, he made the best spaghetti. Spaghetti and chicken tacos, I think that's all he made. He'd call me almost every week, insisting I stop by for lunch, because a man just made some spaghetti. Half the time he was just buttering me up, I think, for something, but I didn't mind because I loved his company and, of course, his cooking. He often joked about knowing he was going to pass away and would say, "Mitch, if you want to buy tickets to the destruction show, let me know." The last good one I heard him tell was at our house. We were out at the pool, me and Christy, and he's going to jump in the pool too, and he jumps in, and he gets out, and he looks at Christy and he goes, "If you and Jolie play your cards right, this could all be yours." This morning I was talking with Drew and Fernando at work. How Kippy would always be there if I needed him, no matter what. He was the kind of person who would come help you if you were stranded or needed anything. He was there. Drew talked about how he needed him twice last week already. I've needed him several times over the last month too. There's been several times where it's like, I wish Kippy was here right now. Kippy, you brought so much joy and laughter and love into our lives. We will miss you dearly, but your spirit and memories we share will remain with us forever. Thank you for everything, and rest in peace.
How's everybody doing? Sorry about that. So I tried writing some stuff down for like the last couple weeks, and every time I try to write something down, I never could. And everybody here behind me has already kind of said a lot of the stuff that John and the type of person that he is, the type of human being he is, the lifestyle, everything like that. But I just wanted to reiterate a couple things. Kemp, your dad loved you. He was proud of you. He loved you. Nothing that you did could be wrong in his eyes. He may have made mistakes, but no matter what, he loved you. He was proud of you, your dad. Please remember that. Bob, you were John's hero. You know, I spent a lot of time in the fire department in this Fort Mojave, and I had the pleasure of working with you for a couple of years before you retired. And like you said earlier, John grew up in the fire department. He loved talking about fire. So there was a lot of times when I think he was in Phoenix or wherever the time was, that he would call me, either if I was on duty or if I wasn't. And the very first words that he would say is, "2 Paul 47. And as soon as I heard that, 2 Paul 47, I knew John was talking about something in the fire department. And he would talk about the wildland fire going on here. He would talk about a call, something that he's seen. He loved talking about fire. He loved talking about how you were the fire chief. He was proud of you. He was your hero, and he was your son. Curtis, you were his best friend, but you meant everything to him. He was more than a brother. He loved you. I believe you were his idol. He looked up to you. Nothing you did was wrong. Nothing you said was wrong. Nothing we did was wrong. And he loved you. So everybody else has kind of touched on a lot of the way John is, his personality, everything like that. So I just want to touch on a couple of things everybody else said as far as his gift of gab. Man, that boy can talk. God, he can talk. You know, when I first met him, I was probably 18. I got a job at the Nissan dealership, and he was selling cars, and everything he said, like, "G-Man, if you do it like this, if you do it like this, G-Man, G-Man." And I'm like, "Okay, John, I have no idea what you're saying, but I'm just going to say okay." So moving on, a couple years later, we're in Vegas, and we're hanging out at the Fremont Street, like dollar beers, dollar shots, having a good time. How much money? I'm trying to go crazy. And somebody gets a bright idea to go to the Palms and go to this club. And I'm like, shit, I don't want to go there. Fucking beer's like $30 a fucking beer. I don't want to do all that. So the next thing you know, we're in this huge club, and in the corner of my eye, way in the corner, I see John over here talking to somebody in this private lounge area. And then he turns around and goes, "G-Man!" And I'm like, okay, what are we doing? Mark Zuckerberg, Vinny Chase from the Chasers, not myself, the other guy from the show, and the DJ that wears the bunny thing. And John talked his way into getting us into their spot, a private VIP spot, just by thinking. I think he said he was security or something. I don't know what he said, but the next thing you know, I got Mark Zuckerberg from here to here after he just bought Instagram, and we sat there and drank Cristal and champagne all night, and can't say the other stuff that's incriminating, but just leave it at that. John's gift of gab is what I was trying to say, the type of person that he is. He literally got us to talk to a billionaire Facebook guy who was buying Instagram at the time, and they were celebrating, and he talked us into their crowd, and we spent the whole night there. So, something I'll always remember. Going back to John's personality, you know, he was always a jokester. He loved to joke. No matter what type of situation he was in, how he was in his life, the type of situation he was in, just it didn't matter whether he was at the highest or at the lowest. His personality was always the same. He was always happy. He was always smiling. He was always cracking one-liners. He was always saying something outlandish where you're like, oh, fuck, my shit's here, dude, shut up. So, a long time ago, Curtis, Mitchell, Ty, a couple of us shared a house. And we were just talking about Kemp's personality, type of person he was. And I was working late that night, and I think Curtis said earlier, like, he wasn't never a roommate, but he was always there. So Kempy was always there. I don't know, slept on the couch, whatever it was. But I'm coming home. We had a courtyard. I'm coming home. It's late. It's dark. There's no streetlights. There's no nothing. And I'm walking to the gate. Nothing. It's probably 2 in the morning. At the corner of my eye, I see a shadow, like where a shadow shouldn't be. And I'm thinking to myself, what in the fuck is that? And I'm scared. It's 2 in the morning. I'm like, dude, I know Kurt's snuggle bunny's up sleeping and everybody else is sleeping. I'm like, that should not be there. And I'm sitting there going, hello? Hello? I'm like, oh fuck, I gotta go back to the car, get something, and talk to myself. And we had a balcony. And after about 10 minutes of me doing this, I hear G-Man. And I'm like, what the fuck? He was like, oh, it's just a mannequin, bro. He's just there to protect the house. I'm like, God damn it. Dude, I've been sitting here doing this for 10 minutes. Like, what am I looking at, dude? Why am I? And I'm just like, thanks, Kevin. Door's locked? No, it's unlocked. Okay. And that was it. You know, that's just the type of person he was. Like, that was just John's character. He just did outlandish, funny, crazy, weird stuff where you think back and like, what is he doing? But that's how he was. Now, that was 20-something years ago. Fast forward to a couple years ago, we're helping Curtis and Daryl is there, and we're sharing this house in Phoenix. And Kimpy loved to make his spaghetti. He loves spaghetti. He'd be like, what's for dinner? Spaghetti. I'm like, fuck, dude, your spaghetti sucks. All right, spaghetti it is. Like, every day, spaghetti. That's all it was. Ghetto spaghetti. It was like hamburger meat, like a little sauce, and some noodles that weren't cooked all the way. It was horrible. So I come downstairs, I go outside to go in the garage. I open the door, it's all dark, I turn the light on, and John's car is in the driveway. I'm looking right at his passenger seat. I open the door, turn the light on, and there's a fucking mannequin staring right at me, sitting down like this. And I'm just like, oh, what the? I'm like, what the fucking Kimpy? God damn it, dude. And here he comes from the couch, he gets up, eating his fucking spaghetti. And I'm like, John, what are you doing? Why is there a mannequin in there? And he looks at me, dead in my eyes, and he goes, carpooling, G-Man, come on. And I'm like, oh my God, bro, 20-something years later, you still got mannequins in here. Like, you gotta be fucking kidding me, dude. You gotta be kidding me. But he was so serious. He like, that was who he was. He was that guy. Like, I don't think to myself, oh, you know what, I'm driving in the city, let me grab a mannequin, just put him in the car seat and crap around with it. But that's what John did. That's the kind of person he was. Like, he was out there, but he was our brother, and we loved him. It didn't matter the type of stuff that he was going through. Like, we all loved him, we all supported him. We all wanted him to be the best. We all wanted him to be a good dad. We wanted him to do everything. And the last couple months, I'll end with this one. The last couple months, I had a daughter myself, my third one, and my bonus child, but we were in Puerto Rico, and we're getting our whole blended family together, and trying to get the kids acclimated with having a new baby and everything like that, and trying to have a good time with ourselves. And John was a ladies' man. I didn't know that he was in the hospital. I really didn't. I was focused on other things. I didn't know until I actually came home that he had a heart attack and everything. But he called me, and he was asking how everybody was, asking about his daughter, and I think the last thing he said to me was, "How's my baby?" yeah, like, G-Man, take care of the baby, take care of my baby. And I don't know, man, I miss him, I love him, we love him, and thank you. Next.
I'm sure everybody's got a story. Come tell one.
I'm John's mom, Diane, and the reason for the spaghetti is I craved spaghetti when I was pregnant. I wanted spaghetti all the time. And when John was born, and he was just barely sitting in his high chair, we lived in Lake Arrowhead up in the mountains, and he was in his high chair and had his spaghetti sound asleep in it. And his dad taught him how to make spaghetti and just a can of tomato sauce. And that's it. That's it.
A can of tomato sauce and noodles. It was the worst, but it was ghetto sketty. That's what he called it. Ghetto sketty.
This sucks ass. Like, it's bad. Like, he is supposed to be there with us. After my husband died, he took the role as Uncle Kemp. He raised a good one. He loved my daughter so much. Like, they were talking. I didn't even know that they were talking. But he would meet her at AMPM and make her get snaps so she'd feel better. And this guy. I am your birthday girl. Me and him have birthday tomorrow. But the funniest story with him was if he always would say, like, if you turn 40 and we're not married to other people, we're gonna get married. I'm like, John, how's that gonna work? Because you're a year older than me. And I was like, and he's like, okay, let's do 50. I'm like, I don't know. Like, that's a little iffy, but I just want you guys to know. He helped me so much after Brian died that he was that person they could always count on and call him. And he'd make me laugh over stupid shit, like, so bad. Like, but I can honestly say he was my brother. He raised a good one. But yeah, so I don't want to say a lot, but yeah, I just want you. It's hard. It's just, this one's hard. This one got me. But he was always there for my littles. He taught my son how to do a tie for his hands. He came all the way over and he made sure that Ryan knew how to tie a tie. He was a good one. I love you. You've always put up with my shit, so I appreciate you. But, so he was a good one. And here, everybody else.
Mine is Aunt Jeanette. He was my birthday present. He was born on the 8th, and my birthday is the 14th, so I was so excited. This memory is from his cousin, my son. Let me put my glasses. I'm old now. I'm gonna be 61. He said, my son Brian says, John was always full of energy and maximized his participation in everything he did, never shying away from anything. He definitely had the star of the show aura about himself, hence the reason why he called himself the Kemp. And my aunt his great aunt when John was very little. John Allan has an Aunt Shelby, and my aunt's name is Aunt Shelby, but her name is Shelby Jean, so we called her Aunt Jean. And our cousins just went ahead and called her Aunt Shelby. So John Allan's 3 years old, and all the cousins got together and all the aunts, and they go and call Aunt Jean Aunt Shelby, but John Allan had it all mixed up. He called her Uncle Jean. And he kept seeing these people call her Aunt Shelby, and he went up to them and told them, that is not Aunt Shelby, that is Uncle Jean. And he went up to Aunt Jean and said, you're not Aunt Shelby, you're Uncle Jean. And she said, yes, darling, I'm Uncle Jean. And that was her favorite memory she wanted me to share. And then I was praying to God in the shower, what am I going to say about John Allan? And God put it on my heart while I was washing my hair. I need you to write something down. So I had to hurry up to get out of the shower. My husband's like, what's going on? And I'm like, I got to write something down. And when John Allan was 4, he was sitting at Uncle Jean's table. And he looked up and said, you know what, I miss living with Jesus. And my aunt never forgot that. She told everybody that John Allan said he missed living with Jesus. It didn't go any further than that. So this is what God told me to write. I'm a little nervous, sorry. Never wrote anything. I was loved. It was perfect being in the presence of our Heavenly Father. Then I was blessed to be the son of Diane. My mom loved me so much. She was my biggest fan. Whether I was shining from a job well done or standing by my side as I stood to take the heat for my choices, I was loved. My dad, Bob, he provided for and protected me. He taught me to work with my hands. I was loved. My grandparents loved me. They would get after me if I was mischievous or unruly, but would laugh with me if a good joke was told. I was loved. My aunts and uncles and cousins loved me. They took me with them to the river and family vacations with all my cousins. My cousins know me best. I was loved. My friends, they loved me. You all know the stories. You all know the stories we share because you are here. I was loved. My children, my heart, even though I had a hard time letting each of you know it, I blew it more than I ever. I loved you all. You were loved. I no longer miss our Heavenly Father, for I am with Him. Mourn me for a season, then remember where I am and rejoice. I just came before you all. I am loved. And then I just wanted to read this Bible quote. It comes from 2 Timothy. I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. That's from 2 Timothy 4.
Was very lovely. Thank you. My name is Sarah, and I met John Kemp the first week that I moved to Fort Mojave because I was a new kid in the 9th grade, and John asked for my phone number. How'd that turn out for him? And so he asked my phone number, and he called me like the first week of school. I was like, whoa, right? It was like kind of cute at the time. 19, 18, 21, who knew, right? Had a job and a vehicle, and I was like, yes. So he talks to me for like solid hour, you know? And my mom was an educator, so she's like paying attention. She's like, knocks on the door, like, who are you on the phone with? I'm like, oh, no, everything's cool, yeah. So I was just a new person at school, you know, this is the time when you could pick up the other phone and kind of listen, you know what I mean? To like what was happening, and no cell phones, just to like rotary on the wall. So, kind of made me nervous. So I think I should just take this moment to apologize to Brandy Ross. Because essentially, I was like, my only other friend at school was Brandy Ross, because her parents were teachers too, and they'd introduced us before school. So I'm like, let's three-way call Brandy Ross. He's like, great idea. So I don't know how to work it, but his phone worked it, meaning when I hung up, they could just keep talking. So sorry, Brandy. So just leave that story where it is, and for the next number of years, we all know what went down. So what sort of has been funny is that, John and I have kept in touch, through the years, and we had some really good laughs through high school and after high school. Most recently, we worked together on some projects, and John and I shared a bathroom together for a period of time during one of those projects. So true and through to the end, tolerance there with each other. But he used to send me just the funniest one-liners. He was like, he'd ask me, because I'm married to a woman, and he was like, I think you could use like a house husband. Like, I could come take care of you, I could make meals, I could take care of your needs. And I was like, not a fucking chance. And he's like, you had me at not a chance. So it's just like relentless, you know what I mean? But super funny. One of the things that he did that I thought was really remarkable is, there's this guy, just an appropriate nickname, we called him White Trash Mike. And White Trash Mike had like a really serious issue that came up after we got to know him, and we just knew him for like a blip. And White Trash Mike was in like serious crisis. And whenever John didn't know what to do, like he called for help to figure it out. And like one time I was like, I think you need a lawyer. And he's like, I already hired Johnny Cochran and Kim Kardashian. I was like, oh my God. And he'd always call me for like legal advice or to solve problems. And so like I remember John staying on the phone with me that night, because we ended up calling like a suicide hotline, and stayed on the phone with me to like try to get this guy help until we could like get someone to go address his issues. And I just thought like, he's such a loyal and, well, funny, but like a loyal friend. Even if he met someone for just a short period of time, like wanted to make sure that like the best could happen to them. But one of the funniest things that happened toward the end of his life is he, after various solicitations, sent me this billboard that was like Kemp Law. What is this? You know what I mean? Did he make this up? And it's like the Kemp Law Group. It's like this firm down in Phoenix. And he says, see, Sarah, I knew I could always marry a lawyer. And I thought, oh my God. So, anyway, I miss him. I think he's super funny and super kind heart, really loyal. And I really appreciate his loyalty. And I think I'll miss, us yelling at each other and also having a pretty good number of laughs. So.
Okay, I don't know if anybody knows me. I'm Amanda Torres. Hello. So, I met Kemp through Curtis. He was my best friend when I was little, or younger, GNI status. Anyways, I don't know if anybody knows this, but Curtis ended up buying my house. I mean, the house that I grew up in when I was in school. And I never had parties in my house. I did not. Okay, look, my parents would go to Europe, and I was so scared because I was always the one that got hot. So I never had a party in my house. I would go to parties, but I never had parties unless my parents were present. Thank you very much. Okay, but Curtis bought my house. The boys moved in. I was married to Joe at the time, I think, pretty sure. Anyway, first time I ever went to my house to enjoy a party, right? Was Curtis's. And the boys were being like really like cautious about what they were doing, what they were saying, and I was having a good time or whatever. And then Kemp, of course, comes along and he's like, what are you guys worried about? This is her house. She knows what's going on. Let's do it. And that was Kemp. That was his attitude. Yeah, he was always funny. Very first time I met him, though, I just got back from Spain, and I didn't really know him, but apparently he was godfather to the boys. And I don't know. He was just cracking a lot of jokes, and I didn't understand because I didn't know who he was. But he made me feel very comfortable. He made me feel like he was my brother, and I appreciated him. So I just wanted to say that he's a great guy, and I'll miss the way he makes me laugh.
I'll miss the way he makes me laugh.
Okay, I'm not Bob. I spell my name one way and one way only. It's not backwards, B-O-B. I'm Uncle Chuck. John and I didn't always eye to eye. A lot of times I didn't like John. And I know a lot of people didn't. But here's the thing. John did have a gift for gab. I had an old friend that had that same gift, and we always told him, you could sell ice cubes to Eskimos. John was the same way. When I first met John, he was about that tall, blonde hair, blue eyes, and he ran amok. One side of the house to the other, always. Oh. My brother could not keep him tied down to one spot ever. But John always had a good heart. Tried to have a good heart to everyone. Whether he liked you or he didn't, he always tried to make you laugh. He always tried to put a smile on your face. I do remember one time he was living in mine and my brother's childhood home. My mother wanted him to be there because she wasn't there. And I remember going over there after he had moved out, and John's little antics. Obviously, everybody knows his little antics. I go to open the basement door because the house had a full-size basement, and here comes this spider on a fishing wire up to where when you open the door, it pulls the spider up in your face, and I'm like, holy shit, John, what the fuck did you just do? I go downstairs, and it looked like MacGyver had been down there. Gadgets here, gadgets there, gadgets this, gadgets that. He took a flashlight apart and tried to make a time machine, I think, because that's just what John did. So, the part about it is, when you're family, it's always that. It's family. Anybody else? Sure.
Chuck, they weren't gadgets, they were chingaderas.
Okay, so the last chingaderas that John brought to my house, because it wasn't but about a month before he had had his issues, the chingaderas I still own. And I will always own. Thanks. Oh, we took a train trip to on Amtrak down to down by San Diego, and John was with me, and I tell you what, that kid, he wouldn't sleep. I wanted to knock him out, get him drunk, do whatever, but he was still about this tall, and he would not go to sleep ever. He was just wide-eyed, bushy-tailed kind of thing, and that's just the way John was. From the day I met him till the day he last came to my house. Bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, couldn't keep him down. Just very hyper and very energetic. We'll call it that. Thank you.
I'm John Allan Kemp Shelby Jr. I'm the other man, Shelby. But John Allan, when he was little, I used to steal him from Diane. I'd go get him and take him with me and my friends, and we'd always go to the rodeo, go cruising down East Street in San Bernardino or on Market in Riverside. But I'd always have to take him every payday to go to McDonald's because he wanted chicken McNuggets and French fries. And mind you, this is in the 70s and there was no such thing as really seatbelts. So this kid stood up in the front seat and cruised East Street with me and my friends in hot rods and French fries and nuggets the whole time. But I always took him on dates with me because I knew I'd be safe if I had John Allan there because nobody was trying to with a little kid in the back seat. But later on, when my daughter, Melissa, went to high school and stuff, you know, John Allan would protect her and Peter the whole time. And he always says, well, if you get in any trouble, you just tell them the Kemp's coming to school. And so, you know, they would tell people that nobody messed with Peter after that. And then when Melissa met her husband, she told John, I'm engaged to your friend Colby Crydell. And John Allan goes, you're not marrying him. There is no way I'm going to let you marry Colby. You don't know who he is or what it's like. Well, Melissa and Colby will next year be 25 years for their marriage, and they still say it's all because of John Kemp that they're together. And Colby and Keenan wanted to be here, but they couldn't make it. But they send their love to all of his friends that they live guys. Thank you.
Okay, I'm Shelby's other half. She's my better half. I've known John for a long time. We're gonna miss him. I only got one story to tell.
Make it a good one.
We deep fry turkeys every year for Thanksgiving because of our father-in-law. Oh, wait a minute. I want to introduce John Dozier right there. This is Uncle John. He's the reason John was like he was. A little mischievous. But one year, I can't tell you because we did it every year, but we're all having Thanksgiving dinner and stuff, and I said, you know, I had my plate out, and I said, John, give me a spoonful of potatoes. He put a spoonful of potatoes right on my plate, and I looked, I go, I'm a big boy, I can eat a little more than that. And he put the biggest heaping spoonful in there, and he started laughing. Okay? I got the last laugh. I ate them all and went back for seconds. Thank you, guys.
I know there's a lot more stories out there, but probably not to be told today. So hopefully we can hang out later tonight. I don't know where we're going after this, but we appreciate everybody coming out to celebrate the life of John Allan Kemp. And where's Sleeper at? Sleeper's up there. We're gonna miss him. We love him. We're gonna miss him. We're gonna miss his laugh. We're gonna miss his stories. We're gonna miss the way he makes us laugh. The way he makes us think about the tough times and turn them into laughter. And I hope that our time today, the brotherhoods that we've created, all the guys out here, my love for Kemp was deep. My love for a lot of you is that deep as well. And, you know, love your friends. Try to spend some more time with them. Sometimes I've been super busy working and doing things, and we kind of lose track on the important things in life, right? We get busy trying to make money, doing whatever the fuck we're doing. It's not very important. The important things are the people you have around you, the people you love, and the people you get to spend this short amount of time that we have on earth together. So make that your priority. Love your family, love your friends, hug them, spend time with them. That's the important thing in our lives. And we're gonna miss you, John. We love you. But there's Kemp's last mannequin has made his appearance. I think we're good here for another hour. Hang out, have some drinks, celebrate John live, tell some more stories together, more intimate stories maybe, stories that you don't want his mom to hear. We love you guys.
Thank you all.